Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Canal Days, What Life Was Like in the Industrial Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining us today is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Como. He personally offers and leads public and private tours, as well as presentations of historical sites within communities throughout the state of Massachusetts. Currently, the communities he has chosen to focus on this year are Holyoke, Chicopee, South Hadley, and Easthampton, and also Granby and Amherst as well. His tours spotlight the local canals, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks, streets, and selected historical houses within each community. In today's episode, we'll be discussing the Nonotuck Park, located in Easthampton, Massachusetts. So tell us about Daly Field.
All right, there's many parts of Nonotuck Park itself, so it's going to take a long time for you to wander around all the different parts itself. One of the points, though, near the major access point of Nonotuck Park is a place called Daly Field, D-A-L-E-Y. And this was land that was purchased in 1925, and the athletic field itself was dedicated in 1925. And there was a WPA project from that point. They put in a lot of amenities, including a baseball diamond, walkways, and so forth and so on. And so this field is very popular nowadays. It still has the baseball diamond there, and it's still a great place for you to wander around. Now, we're going to talk about what's inside of Nonotuck Park and what's around the outside area of it, which is many things. And what are the characteristics of the brooks that happen to flow right through it. So a brook flows through it. But a lot of people know this place for its baseball, softball fields, and it's a very nice park, and it's very rural, and everything that's around it contributes to that feel of being very rural.
And what is inside Nonotuck Park? Any features?
There's very many features, many plaques, many picnic areas, a lot of playground areas, and even at the front of it, a nature trail called the Totman Nature Trail. And they have a lot of memorial parks nearby, pavilions that can be rented, so you can have a business picnic here, so forth and so on. And there's so much around the outside of it too. So in this discussion, we'll stay with what's inside of it. And the baseball, softball fields dominate the area, and they're quite secluded, so it's a very cool temperature. But if you walk around, you're going to see memorial stones. Many of the baseball fields are dedicated to different people that have been important in the history of Easthampton, or important to the buildup of this park itself. All right, and that nature trail has a map, and you can follow along. It goes all around the outside perimeter of the entire Nonotuck Park, so it's actually a pretty long nature trail. But I would call it a circular one because you come very close to the point that you went in. All right, and there's a lot to do around the area, so keep that in mind as you wander around. There's so much, and there's so much to explore. You just don't have to stay in one place. There's so much to walk on, including inside the park and around this nature trail, and around the Daly Field, or along the places along the perimeter of the park too.
And really quick, before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, for more information or to sign up for any various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there you can find videos and podcasts of the stops along each of his tours, as well as photos and text of the historical sites throughout as well. And for private tours and other inquiries, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And his tours make for fun, educational, outdoor activities for families and group parties. So getting back to our interview, describe the area around the Nonotuck Park.
Yes, it's a nice place because of what's inside it and what's on the outside of it too. So I'll tell you some of the outside places. I already told you about Daly Park on the outside. There's also a Galbraith Park nearby. There's a National Wannock Pond, which is really a reservoir. It's a very large one too. It should be called Upper Milk Pond. It was dammed up for the Williston Mill. And there's also nearby the Brookside Cemetery, which is about 150 years old. All right, and there's school grounds, especially for the White Brook Middle School. There's a water lane, which is a street on the eastern side of National Water Pond, which has a clubhouse and a beach. And there's a couple brooks that run through the area, the White Brook and the Broad Brook, which I'll tell you about soon. And just the whole neighborhood around it seems very rural, which is wonderful because Easthampton deserves to have this rural feel to it. And you could spend many, many hours just going through each one of these little features it has around it.
And what are the characteristics of the two freshwater brooks that run through the park?
All right, these are pretty big places, these brooks. Broad Brook itself is really a creek. A brook, you should have the ability to jump across it, but this Broad Brook, you do not. It's at least 12 feet across, I would say, and the place is much more than that. It's coming out of the East Mountain, which is in Hoyoke and Westfield, and by the time it comes down to the flatter areas of Easthampton, it's quite broad itself. And there's also the White Brook, and there's 5 brooks in Easthampton, and there's 2 of them right through this park itself. And the White Brook itself gives its name to the middle school in Easthampton, but the White Brook feeds in to the Broad Brook and makes even more volume of water. And these brooks also give a characteristic to this park because you get a natural setting around the brook area where part of the Topman Nature Trail is right by that brook. And in the other brook you meet at the other end. And so you got a lot of natural setting throughout this park. And these brooks are very large, like I said, and thus a lot of animals can be found both in the brooks and around the brooks area.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours and historical topics of your expertise. And we want to thank our sponsors and thank our customers for tuning in. And check out a large selection of our other podcasts at his website, as well as on SoundCloud.com. And be sure to stay up to date with new podcasts and videos posted daily. And thank you, and hope you tune in again.